Peace. Peace, beautiful people. Hopefully, you guys could hear me okay. Let me see if my people are in the building. Hold on one second. Let me just see my settings, of course. I think I'm all right. Salute to anyone in the building. Let me check to see what's going on here. Oh, we got some people. Salute everybody. Salute to you. Wow. Nice to see you guys in the building, already writing and leaving messages. Okay, let me find out y'all was waiting on your girl. Let me find out. Salute to the King Rodney James. Beautiful King, nice to see you. Thank you for coming. He says, SugarFreeMars, let's go get it. You already know what time it is, King. Salute to the King Steph Brown. I see you. He says, can't wait for this. Great topics, great thumbnails. Be well, Lady SugarFreeMars. God be with you. Let's get this boxing talk. All right. I feel you, Steph. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Sunday. Salute to the King T Hunt with his hearts and his salute and his 9 on deck. He's ready to go. And so am I. Salute to you, King T Hunt. Nice to see you. Oh my goodness. We got the beautiful King BFTB in the building. He says, waiting goddess. Okay. Well, you don't have to wait much longer, my King. Okay. I'm here. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining me. Salute to my beautiful sister, Cameron Fields. I see you. She says, listening and doing homework today. Girl, you better get it. Get to those books and get to those books right. Okay. Like I told you the other day, kick all of those upcoming tests that you have, all of them. Get their asses kicked by the Queen's sister Cameron. Okay. Knocked all of them out. I want TKOs. I want some body shots on those tests. Everything, okay? Show up and show out and do the best that I know you will do on every exam and in every venture that you have coming up, beautiful sis. Definitely got my support. I'm wishing you well in all that you do. My Leo twin is in the building. Hey, lovely King Daryl. Nice to see you. He says, salute, beautiful King. Beautiful Queen, aka Leo twin, sugar free. Yes, indeed, King. Nice to see you, Daryl. The great Mike is in the building. Salute to you, King. Thank you so much for joining me. My gunna, I'm always hyped to see the great Mike in the building. We got Devontae F. Nice to see you. Wow, we got some people up in here, y'all. We got the King and the Coach Hudson in the building. He says, salute to the Queen of Queens in the sweet science of boxing. Peace to the chat. RIP to the legendary Big George Foreman. Absolutely, King. RIP to the GOAT. Trust me, he's in good hands wherever he is. All right. Salute to the King, Stephen X. Nice to see you. Peace be upon you as always, King. Always great to have you in the building to talk this boxing talk that we love. So yeah, salute to everyone. Nice to see you. Oh, and peace to my sister for blessing us. This beautiful Sunday evening or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. She gave us a 10-piece for the Sugar Free channel. Thank you so much, sis, for always blessing the channel with your support. And of course, with the super chat, she says, continued blessings to my beautiful sis. Keep cooking. Thank you so much, sister. Thank you. I appreciate you always. Yeah, you guys, let's see where we are at. I think that, at this time, in my view at least, it's kind of how I have been gauging things, especially as we are passing into a new season. I think that, I'm anticipating a new season in boxing. And it's kind of a concept that I've touched on for some time, as you guys know, always with an anticipatory mood. Because I'm always wondering what is on the other side of everything that we have been seeing. It seems like we have been kind of dragging along, some type of murky, muddy terrain. And we've seen some breakthroughs in the cycle that we have been in for, the past few years. But it's one nonetheless that I think has run its course. If I'm being honest, and I find there's a sense of the mundane and always talking about the same things, always bringing up the same issues concerning boxing. And, I just find myself, exhausted, exhausted of kind of the same inconsistencies, if that makes sense, if you're going to use that oxymoron, the same inconsistencies, right? Because they always appear time and time again. And I guess I say that to say that I'm ready for whatever shift seems to be happening or underway to actually materialize and to commence. That's what I'm waiting for. And I feel like things are trying to define themselves within this kind of place that boxing seems to have not gotten beyond. I feel like there's a possibility that things are formulating under the surface that we may not know about. There are perspectives changing within the fighters themselves about how they want to approach boxing. For some of them, not all of them, of course, but from the ones that we know, are about this boxing life. A lot of people are looking for a sense of change, right? A sense of shifting in direction. And, I think that that's kind of evident with the anticipated returns that we have coming up this year. People making their return back to the ring. We got even new boxing formulas are being proposed, right? With what we've seen of Turki Al-Sheikh and Dana White, proposals are being set on how to restructure boxing, on how to reapproach boxing anew with new eyes, with a new fresh perspective and things of the sort. So I think there's a redefining going on myriad levels. It appears that the current climate of boxing is calling for structure and restructuring in one way or another. Do you guys feel that too? Do you guys feel like that is, time for something like that to happen? I sure do. I feel like there are moving pieces on the chessboard. And like always, with change comes benefits for some people, and change can also bring, what we would call upsets or challenges to people. But nonetheless, all of those moving pieces are going to be beneficial in one way or another, because it will show, or it will allow for a sense of character and new development of character to be shown, right? From all levels, from the promoters to the fighters to even us boxing fans. I think we will be called to a new level of showing up on our own turf wherever we stand. And I think that it's very much time for that, because I'm tired of the same old same in boxing. And it's a song I've been singing for quite some time, for those of you who've been rocking with me. So I think the moving pieces on the chessboard are going to, benefit some people. And then, of course, those moves are going to also probably call into being, or force into being a matter of people having to direct their own courses because of that change. I think that the change is going to call forward a need to direct one's own course. And I find myself definitely anticipating that. Okay. I think it's prime time for the people that we back and support to begin setting their intentions. Intentions have to be set, you guys. I don't think that we could just sit in a hazy, mystified environment anymore in boxing, wondering what the next move is going to be. I think it's time, and I've been calling for this, for some intentions to be set. That's why I have let go of support of some fighters, and that's why I have, claimed an even stronger hold on other fighters, because the fighters that I find myself gravitating towards and wanting to support are the people who make their intentions known. They are not the people who keep me in the dark. They are not the people who mystify, parade around with some type of vague, weird bandwagon that I'm supposed to just blindly follow without ever knowing what the outcome is or what the goal is in mind. I can no longer do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just across the board. That's in sports. That's out of sports. I will not blindly find myself, running behind something that isn't in full, motion towards something that I know that I can rock with. And I think that the character of these boxers and these promoters are being forcibly put on display now in a new way with the advent of platforms like this, platforms like the Beautiful King BFTB and all the people that we love, and support who talk this boxing thing. I think that there's a fresh set of eyes on deck that's going to call people out, that's going to hold people accountable, for even fighters, and say, hey, what are you bringing to the table? Because you want me to show up, you want my support, but where's the reciprocity? And I think that's very much needed as well. And I think that's a part of the change and the shift that's happening, and that's a part of the intentions that need to be clearly set. I think that some intentions have already been set by boxers. You know what I'm saying? Some people have already begun to do that, like I said, and those are the people that I find myself rocking with. I think that's a great thing, and I hope that they definitely continue on that path of doing so. Pretty much, I'm looking to see what postures will be assumed, right? What demarcations are going to be made among these fighters that will set them apart. That's going to get them to the next level. The demarcations have to be set, though. They have to be made in order to achieve that next level. I've grown tired of seeing people treading the middle line, you guys. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm quite exhausted of. Just people treading along and not stirring anything up, not wanting to rile, the sentiments of onlookers, or, to whatever, to appease this person, to appease that person. I don't want to tread middle lines anymore. You know what I'm saying? I'm from a boxing cloth that upholds people that went against the grain. And I'm looking to see what this era of boxing will do in the vein of that, in the spirit of that says, listen, this is my turf and I'm here to claim it by any means necessary. I'm looking for the heart. I'm looking for that goal. You know what I mean? That's what I want on display. But for some reason, I keep getting the feeling, you guys, I really do keep getting the feeling that this is the temperature that some people prefer things to be at. And that's problematic for me, right? On all types of levels. The people want it to remain this way, perhaps because it gives them something to talk about. Perhaps because they never get to see their fighter tested, and they don't want to see their fighters tested. And so they prefer the landscape of monotony at this particular moment, right? It gives them something to cull towards and for. It's weird. That I don't want anything stale or stagnant. I want the change. I want the movement. I want the shifts. I want to be able to say, okay, well, I thought you were on this level. You prove yourself to be on this level. I like to know that you are changing and moving as a fighter. That's what I support. I want to see you change. I don't want to see you, become a porcelain doll. No, you must be full of life. You must be animated. You must be, reaching peaks and valleys of yourself, of your nature as a fighter. That's the warrior spirit. The warrior spirit is like fire. You know what I'm saying? It moves, it changes, it consumes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it gets very dim. Sometimes, it's all ablaze. But nonetheless, it is moving, it is alive. And these fighters need to claim that spirit. They need to move. And they need to be able to shift with their time, but also salute the great warrior spirit that the legends, speaking of the King George Foreman, in his contemporaries of his day, those men were about that energy. And that's why we hold them so dear to us, because they showed and proved, despite the challenges, despite the era, despite the political terrain, despite the controversies or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? They went in the ring and they put it all on the line in true warriorship. So that's what I'm waiting. That's what I'm anticipating, you guys. We can't be in an environment where there is no superseding of old energy. We need to be able to supersede that. We don't need to be, in a climate where it's like, oh, well, you can't stand out too much or be too different from where you're quote unquote expected to be. Enough of that mentality. You know what I'm saying? Whether you have great accolades going for you or otherwise, you need to be breaking the mold and trying to go beyond even the level of praise, quote unquote praise. Because the goal at the end of the day, I think, should always be to reinvent yourself, to always be to, solidify championship. Championship does not have, one mode. It's not like, a remote control with one setting. No, it's like you have to venture into new territory and dare to be great. That's what the saying means. right? We got a lot of people toting that phrase around, but I don't think people really understand what that means. Daring to be great means that you may have to sacrifice, all the praise and all the acclaim by, possibly facing defeat in the ring. Are you willing to do that? Because if you aren't, how are you daring to be anything called great? You understand? So I think a lot of these intentions have to be reset with these fighters. It's very important. And I'm waiting to see that. You know what I'm saying? The name of the boxing game has always been to defy odds, to stand in front of challenges, and to be changed by those challenges. Okay? Not to remain the same, but to be changed by them. I'm waiting for a change in boxing. I think it's time for things to, get shaken up. And I like to see what new approaches are going to be had. I'd like to see a renewed fire for battle and competition in boxing. I don't want to see people trying to placate anymore. I don't want to see people trying to, be friends, as we've spoken about in the past, or anything like that. I want to see some competition. I want to see some heart. And that's what I'm anticipating. And speaking of change, I think some of the topics that I'm going to touch on today are touching on aspects of change, right? And how slow change is being brought in, whether on a personal level for these fighters or on a more broad level for them, right? So I think the theme of change definitely caught the attention of Alicia Baumgardner, you guys, okay? Change started knocking on her door, and she definitely answered, okay? Because at some point earlier this week, she has made an announcement that she has signed, you guys, to Jake Paul's MVP, Most Valuable Promotions. This is Alicia Baumgardner, you guys. Wasn't I just speaking about this woman? Miss Alicia said, I'm moving the fuck on, y'all. Peace. She said, listen, I'm going to do better elsewhere. If I'm not getting it here, I'm getting it somewhere else, right? So she made the move and the transition. She left Matchroom clean in the dust, you guys. Now, if you guys recall the conversation that we had in our last live, I believe that was about 2 weeks ago, I brought up the statements and the sentiments, if you guys recall, expressed by Caroline Dubois. You remember that? Where she spoke about her thoughts of Eddie Hearn, Mrs. Dubois, and her reservations about his overall indifference to female boxing and the promotion of female fighters. Remember we spoke about that? And I had made the connection within Caroline's statement that Alicia was part and parcel to that mindset, right? Given Alicia's history with Eddie Hearn. So the timing of Alicia's announcement this week is definitely wild, right? Since I just touched upon that. And I share with you guys that over the past year, pretty much we've seen virtually no activity from Ms. Alicia Baumgardner, right? And when we saw her last, she was like participating in some, run-of-the-mill, makeshift event card that I believe was privately held, whatever that event was. And that, it garnered virtually no interest for that fight. There was really no buzz or anything like that. It didn't really seem like the production of it was put together. Everything seemed kind of strangely contrived. I'm not sure how that went about. I don't even think that, was a Matchroom event, to be honest with you. So she kind of fell out of view. And then again, once the beef with Clarissa had slowed down and she didn't really follow up with that, she virtually fell into the background pretty much, right? So, but I think that perhaps a lot of that silence may have been due to her trying to find her way out of Matchroom and looking into a new home base. So that's probably what a lot of her disappearance stemmed from. Whatever the matter, I'm definitely glad that she has resurfaced. She looks wonderful. She looks happy in the little promo video that she posted showing her with Amanda Serrano and with Jake Paul. It's great to see her. You know what I'm saying? It's great to see that she's looking to solidify herself again. She definitely should be, right? She's a notable female. She's undisputed. Okay. She's definitely an acclaimed fighter. It'll be great to see her taking charge and in the lead of female boxing, among the queens of, the female boxing division in the landscape would be wonderful. MVP is also home, of course, to Amanda Serrano, which is a good look as far as possibly getting a matchup between those two ladies. What y'all think about that? I know that's certainly a fight that I've been wanting to see. Alicia versus Amanda Serrano, right? That would be great for women's boxing. I definitely think it's a fight that, has long been called for, definitely on my end. I always felt that the smoke, that she was sounding off at Clarissa, I felt like that should have always been aimed at people like Amanda Serrano, right? Because they were only one division apart, I believe. And that fight made the most sense to me for Baumgartner. Not Clarissa Shields, who was, at that time, a 160-pounder or cruiserweight at that time. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely felt that it made much more sense for her to be, barking at Amanda Serrano's door. And maybe, who knows, maybe that's something that we can have come into fruition now that they are under the same roof. But either way, I think it's a good look for her. And I do find it interesting that Jake Paul is solidifying a clear stance alongside female fighters as opposed to what we would consider the quote unquote major promotional companies, right? I think the stance that he's taking in female boxing is very interesting, right? Jake Paul seems to want to tap in to the highly marketable potential that women bring to boxing, especially people like Amanda Serrano, and Alicia Baumgartner, who have a certain appeal to them, right? I think he wants to tap into that, and he wants to extend the potential of that marketability into a larger territory, possibly beyond the standard boxing market, which I think would be wonderful if he can pull that off. You guys, imagine if Jake Paul begins signing notable male fighters to his promotional team. What do you guys think that would look like? That would be crazy, right? Do you think that he'd be a formidable opposition if he did start taking on, well-known male fighters? Do you think he'd be a formidable op to these current promotional companies? Interesting stuff. Would boxing fans take issue with that if he did that? Do you think that Jake Paul would get as much scrutiny and hate and criticism as your boy Turkey Al-Sheikh does? It's a question that I've been looking into, certainly. I'm like, oh, well, what if he started coming more forward and into the forefront, not just in women's boxing, but also taking on some notable male figures as well? Interesting stuff. Whatever the case, I think Jake Paul is certainly making his way into the helm of female boxing for sure. It's great to see because, I think female boxing needs all the support that it can get. And Jake Paul, whether you like him or not, he is definitely a notable name with a huge, backing, huge marketability himself. And he's pulling all of the resources that he can to invest in female boxing, which is great. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot more than what these other promotional companies have been doing. So interesting to see what's going to go on for MVP Promotions. And of course, most certainly, the Queen Alicia Baumgartner, the beautiful sister. So congrats to her. I hope that it proves to be profitable for her, beneficial, and we'll see what's on the horizon. I can't wait to see her back in the ring. It's definitely been far too long, and I can't wait to see what's next for the Queen. Speaking of, you guys, Clarissa the Gwolt Shields was adamant about the boxing world putting respect on her name and on her credibility as a clean athlete. Okay? And she was absolutely correct in demanding that because, speaking of change, you guys, there has been a change of events regarding the suspension debacle that was surrounding her alleged positive marijuana test for some weeks, right? So there's been a change in dynamic as far as that story goes. I believe that's something that we spoke about in our last live as well. So the suspension of Clarissa Shields has officially been lifted after the Michigan Commission admitted to what they called a quote unquote procedural error. Procedural error. Can you believe this? An article that I came across posted on Boxing Scene shared this following statement And this statement was made by the Securities and Commercial Licensing Bureau, which are the people who oversee the Michigan Unarmed Combat Commission, right? This is the statement that they made. It says, quote, the above referenced complaint filed and opened against respondent Clarissa M. Shields has been closed with no disciplinary action taken following the receipt of additional evidence that a procedural error occurred during the collection of the respondent's oral fluid specimen. End quote. Do you hear this nonsense? Procedural error, you guys. Clarissa's lawyer stated that a swab used basically in collecting the sample from Clarissa had broken in her mouth as they were collecting the sample from her, right? Which was a saliva sample. And he says that it was placed on a possibly contaminated towel randomly lying on the testing table before being placed in the vial. So whoever collected the sample had a random ass towel sitting next to them that they laid it on. It was not checked. It was not, inspected or verified that it was a towel, cleanly set there. It could have been touched by somebody. It could have fell on the floor, whatever the case is. They placed her swab on this towel, you guys. Ain't this crazy? Isn't this crazy? So the carelessness of the on-site testers and facilitators of that testing and the sample pulling is what caused the sample to become contaminated, you guys. It was not Clarissa. Just as she's been stating from the beginning, listen, I never smoked weed in my life. I don't know what the fuck y'all talk about, okay? But it was not me, basically. You know what I'm saying? There should have been a greater level of caution exercised by the technicians. I don't know why they would be so careless to just be, laying anything on the you're testing in a facility, in a live facility where the fight is taking place. People are smoking, people are passing by. What's going on here? Why wasn't there a greater level of care in getting these samples? These technicians should have known, what to do in the circumstances of being placed in an arena where you're collecting samples, in an active arena. It's weird to me. Clarissa's lawyer also suggested, pretty much what Clarissa had been arguing the whole time when the news of the positive sample officially broke, which was that, her test could have been contaminated by secondhand smoke because it was prevalent in the building. He says the hallway was filled with smoke. Okay. So all in all, I'm glad that she's been cleared of that. And that the rumblings and the drama and the bickering that were, caused around the initial rumor of that sassy Dick Glazer, I think he was the one that put out that rumor. I'm glad that it's been all put to rest now because he couldn't wait to just run to his Twitter and start a whole rumor mill before he even had any substantial facts, right? So I'm glad that that's been put to rest. Real talk, you guys, it was off-putting seeing people on the fringes, hungry for some type of drama to pop off with the Queen Clarissa. I'm like, yo, chill. Like, she told you she never smoked weed before. It's probable that what she's saying is true. Why don't you wait for the results? They were just ready to devour and spew all types of pejorative, slighting speculations around about Clarissa Shields, right? Don't they always do that to the people on top, to the clean athlete? Ain't that crazy? How they're always ready to jump out of the goddamn woodworks for a clean athlete. But when it's time to be gung-ho about actual adverse findings of banned substances in somebody's body, they talk about, wait for the B sample, wait for the C sample, wait for the F sample. You know what I'm saying? Get out of my damn face. When it's time to be gung-ho about some real drug cheating shit, that's the time we can't find anybody around who's going to show that same type of vehemence when the pressure is actually due. People make me sick, y'all. The boxing world is full of sassy ass cowards. Sassy cowards. And any and all measures are used to, censure a black elite, which is what Clarissa Shields is. There's pretty much no, stone. I'll say that. There's no stone too small for these people to cast towards greatness. If they can find a stone, however big, however small, they're going to use it as long as they can try to tear your ass down with it. But Clarissa was cleared of all of that. So salute to the queen, Clarissa Shields. She don't have to worry about that anymore. Suspension lifted and she can go about her life. I believe she also just celebrated her 30th birthday. So, in the wake of her turning 30, it's wonderful that she also got great news of her clearance from the Michigan Commission. So salute to the sister Clarissa Shields on that. Let me check in with my people real quick, see what y'all talking about. Salute to everybody. If I missed you, salute. Let me go back a little bit to see. Hey, King Snoopy, I see you in the building. What's up, King? Oh, we got Jute in the building. Nice to see you. Salute to you. We got the King PG. Hey, PG, thank you for the roses. The King DP is in the building. Salute to the King Eric. All right, we got my people in the building. Salute everybody. Yeah, what y'all think about that? What y'all think about the Alicia Baumgardner signing to Jake Paul? What are your thoughts about MVP promotions as a whole? Do you think that he'll eventually branch out into signing some notable male figures? You know what I'm saying? Among his stable? Do you think that we could anticipate some big matchups for Alicia upon her return? I wonder how soon she's looking to return, now that I think about it. Is she trying to get in, by end of spring or early summer? I'm wondering what her projections are. But either way, it'll be great to see. It'll be great to see her. I can't wait to see what's in store for sure. The King Darrow says, I think Floyd Mayweather era may have hurt this generation. They're more concerned about the O in the loss column, not the resume. Facts, King. Yeah, it's definitely a whole lot of obsession with the O's that has stifled the mentalities of a lot of people. And I think even probably more so the fans, probably more than the fighters. Not that the fighters hadn't been affected by that old mindset, keep my old mindset, because they certainly have. But I think that in the minds of fans, it's probably more dangerous and prevalent in the minds of fans because the fans will stipulate upon the fighters that they not lose. And if they lose, they are going to be targeted. They're going to be memed. They're going to be, podcasts talking about them, about how they're bums and all this other shit. And it's like very, very weird dynamic. I think in the minds of the public more so than the fighters. But the fighters have definitely been affected themselves. I agree with you, twin. The King Coach Hudson says, hell, I think Shakur is the only one left with an O that matters. So they need to get on with it. Facts, King. Facts. The great Mike says, I was glad to hear Alicia moving on from Matchroom. Eddie is only concerned with Katie Taylor. Facts. And Katie Taylor is not even so much concerned with his ass anymore because she made her biggest bag with Jake Paul in her fight with Amanda Serrano. You know what I'm saying? Which is one of the points that Caroline Dubois was speaking of. So I don't know if she was hinting towards Katie Taylor, maybe possibly leaving as well. Who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. He seems to be very interested in the female, boxing landscape and not reticent at all about investing in it and paying them, lucratively, which is a problem that Caroline Dubois spoke of as far as Matchroom was concerned, was that the pay wasn't even what it should have been, especially considering somebody of Katie Taylor's stature over there in the UK. Interesting stuff. Leo Twin says, I think Eddie Hearn might be smashing Katie Taylor. You wild. You are wild. I'd hate to, I don't even want to imagine that the neck on that girl, please. Oh my God. That's like smashing his damn brother. Anyway, we got the richest one in the building. Salute to you, King Rich. Nice to see you. He put his little scoping astronaut and scoping the moon and scoping the planets. Salute to you, King. Nice to see you in the building. Let's see here. I think I went a little bit too far out. Coach Hudson says, I wouldn't have another fight in Michigan for 5 years. Shut it down. How disrespectful. After she went hard for them since the Olympics. Exactly, Coach Hudson. Very weird stuff. Very, very, very weird stuff in the way that was handled. But I think that the breaking of the news is really what made, um, you know, people start speculating the way that they did. Was Dick Rick? His name is Dick Glazer. I refuse. I can't even call him Rick Glazer anymore. The damn Dick Glazer. When he ran to his Twitter to break that news, it just caused a sandstorm after that, and I think that's what really prompted everybody's, giving her a backlash or giving Clarissa the side eye, which was weird. It's like, damn, y'all don't even know what's, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't even know what's popping. And y'all over here, running to, Twitterville to go talk about it before you even know what time it is. It's weird. It's strange as hell. But let's see what else we got here. Now, I know that there was a fight, you guys, that took place, or, some cards and stuff like that. I ain't gonna cap. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't interested in it at all. I did brush back and take a view at it earlier this morning. And, Fundora versus Booker is a fight that, took place over the weekend. Sebastian Fundora. He got the job done. He pulled off a dominant victory, that's for sure. But I ain't gonna cap y'all. The fight looks strange as hell, y'all. Did y'all see that fight? The visuals of what was taking place, it's just the spectacle of it, the optics of those two men in the ring together looked absolutely crazy to me. I know I'm not the only one. Did y'all see the height difference? It's just crazy. It looked absolutely bizarre, as it does all the time when Fundora is in the ring, real talk. The man is fucking 6'7", same height as Anthony Joshua, same height as goddamn Deontay Wilder up in this piece. What are you doing at 154? I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. And nobody calls him a weight bully. Nobody calls him a bully of anything. It's just weird to me, you guys. But salute to Fundora for his victory. Even though the whole, being that huge and fighting at, 154, that's always going to be bewildering to me. That's always going to bemuse me, you guys. I can't even cap about that. But anyway, Booker in that fight, he had some moments of success. But, it was not going to happen, you guys. Fundora proved to be too much to withstand, and he definitely got him out of there in the 4th round. Okay, he got that man clean out of there. So salute to Fundora on his victory, but real talk, I don't like watching him at 154. I just don't. I think he is way too big. I just don't. Why is that man, why is he making 154? And the funny thing is that I think at that weigh-in, he came in a little under 154. It's like, what are you doing? How can you be this huge and walking around my goddamn weight? What's popping? Very bizarre. I don't know what's next up for Fundora. I know that Bakaram, had called him out on Twitter, like, hey, I'm saying, congratulations, I'm ready when you are, type of deal. So that could be something interesting. I think I came across an interview where Fundora had, I can't really say that he spoke about the disintegration of the Spence fight, because he really didn't allude to much, except to say that contracts have to be signed and people have to sign contracts. And when contracts aren't signed, then you can't get the fight. So I don't know if he's saying that he wasn't sent a contract. I don't know if he's saying that Earl didn't sign a contract. I don't know what the hell's going on, but he seemed very tight-lipped about that. So, all we can do is speculate on our end. But of course I couldn't watch that fight without thinking, well, damn, when is EJ coming back? You know what I mean? Because my interest in the fight was always EJ, wasn't necessarily Fundora. Even though I don't really have any real qualm with Fundora, I think he's an interesting character. And I definitely think that he brings a level of skill to the ring. But as far as 154, he is not somebody that I have my eyes on like that. Although he is a champion, he is a belt holder, so I put respect on his name. But like I said, once again, congrats to him. But it's not really much for me to divulge as far as, or say that that I am in anticipation for as far as Fundora is concerned. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it quite yet. But salute to him on his victory, and I guess we'll see if that fight with Baccarat materializes. Uh, Charles Cromwell is another one at 54. That'll be a good fight. I think somebody of that skill level can pose a definite threat to somebody like Fondora. So we'll see. We'll see what's popping, y'all. Now, moving on to another fight that happened, Kambosos and Jake Wiley. Now, Kambosos grabbed a W, okay, as he should have, on his home turf yesterday, I believe, in what was his debut fight at 140, you guys. So that was interesting that he made his first fight at 140. He got the unanimous decision victory in what was a 12-round boxing lesson, pretty much. That's what the fight was from start to finish. Kambosos schooled Wiley with the jab. And by the second or third round, it seemed to me that Kambosos was able to virtually anticipate everything that Wiley was going to throw. He looked good. He looked sharp. He had his hooks. He had his uppercuts, going. That left hand pretty much overall was the enemy of Wiley in that fight because he could do nothing to evade it, it seemed. Kambosos showed to me a versatility that was way too much for the opponent, pretty much to figure out and to overcome. Even though Wiley did have some successes in landing at particular moments. He was able to let his hands go at particular moments. But Kambosos just proved to be, more skillful. Now, Jake Wiley, I believe, was a late replacement for this fight, which is interesting. He got a call like a week ago, right? Early last week, he got the call. And I think that call was to replace actually somebody else that was partaking on that card. But instead, he ended up replacing George Kambosos' opponent instead, which is insane. Ain't that crazy how that happens in boxing? You prepare for weeks for somebody, concentrating all of your efforts and all of your focus to beat this one person. You obsess over this one person. How you're going to dominate them. You dream about them. You talk about them. You go to, the heavy bag thinking about them. You're thinking about their style, their particular aura. And then all of a sudden, the week of the fight, here you go fighting somebody goddamn else. What? How do these boxers do this, you guys? These fighters are wild men, because they got all heart, no chaser, because these men get up in that ring and they do what they got to do anyway, despite the changes, right? Interesting stuff, you guys. So also interesting that I found to be this particular point. In the aftermath of this 12-round match of Kambosos, has anybody yet heard that this fight was boring? Anybody heard claims of this fight being boring last night? Because I was surely scrolling and waiting to see what people had to say about it. Did anybody see any sleeping memes or complaints on Twitter about this fight having gone the distance? Was there any complaints about that you guys came into? I sure haven't come across any. I heard no complaints whatsoever that this fight went the distance. Seems to me that everybody is okay with it and content with Kambosos' victory. Ain't that something? Isn't it nice to just simply perform and get your victory and go on about your business? Ain't that nice? Imagine if that courtesy and that peace of mind was extended to every fighter. Wouldn't that be something? We'd possibly have a viable, credible, and respected sport on our hands if that were the case. That everybody could just go in, do their job, and go home. Shout out to Kambosos for his win, right? I hear that he is possibly in line to fight Africa. I know that Africa is slated, I believe, to fight sometime in June, according to Eddie Hearn. Allegedly Eddie Hearn was looking to have him in Madison Square Garden, I believe. And, they are looking at some opponents, and supposedly Kambosos is now one of the top prospects to have, in the ring with Hitchens. So we'll see what that looks like. I think that'll be a good fight for both men. Africa, of course, is the current champ. So Kambosos stands to once again be a strap holder if he succeeds in beating Richard Hitchens, which is interesting, except he'll be a champ in a whole new division. So, of course, that'll be a good look for Kambosos. We'll see what happens with that. Now, another fight that I do think interesting for Africa Hitchens is Matias, because I believe he's his mandatory, is he not? And that's a fight that everybody has been long wanting to see for some time as well. And, people have been talking nonstop about how Hitchens is ducking Matias. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that as well. But he seems pretty adamant on, not facing Matias, because he calls out Tio's name, as we've heard. We've heard him call out Kambosos' name, but he has yet to really, run the mill around Matias' name. So I don't know what's up with that, but we'll see what's in store. Shout out to George Kambosos for his victory. And salute to him. Salute to him. Now, speaking of 140, you guys. Speaking of 140. I'm sure many of you have seen and heard the back and forth across social media between Core Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez over the week, right? Over the past week. Core is apparently interested in going up to 140 to make a fight with Teofimo Lopez. Reports also came out that he wanted to entertain the idea of also possibly seeing Gary Antoine Russell in the ring. Interesting stuff buzzing around 140, right? I think that the prospect of these fights are certainly and most definitely entertaining. Either way that he goes, whether he was, inching at Tio or whether he solidified something with Antoine Russell, I think it'll both be interesting. Fabulous fights, in fact, for sure. I think that these are the fights, you guys, that we have been awaiting from Shakur Stevenson. Fights like Teofimo Lopez and Gary Antoine and all the other killers up there at 140. You know what I'm saying? This is what we've been demanding of him. So it's certainly a good look for him to take on this sort of action, if he's being serious, that is. However, let's not forget, you guys, that Shakur has also been proven repeatedly that he talks a good game. And he can talk until he's blue in the face, pretty much, right? Without ever really, us never really getting to see the follow through with all that was said. So I'd like to see the young man venture into the territory of the other elite competitors at 140. You know what I'm saying? Men with athletic ability, men with strong boxing skills and fortitude. That's what I want to see. He hasn't yet gone to battle, Shakur Stevenson, with men who we consider to be of his par. We have not seen that. We have not seen that on full display as of yet. And this is why a lot of the times there's a lot of dialogue generated around his resume and the like, right? Because people want to see the level of competition upped. They want to see the upping of the stakes, the raising of the stakes. So certainly 140 has become replete with warriors who can give him that type of credence that he is looking for upon his resume. Facts or no, right? A whole bunch of killers up there who will be great names to add on his resume. Real talk, you guys. I think that Shakur should move to 140 pounds. That's something that I have said in the past. If Tank Davis and Lomachenko refuse to, fight the man this year, I think that's a move that he should definitely consider making. You know what I'm saying? Before the year's over. It's like, for whatever reason, Core's recent, movement has been stating that he wants to stay at 135 pretty much. Remember we spoke about that and I shared that I had come across an interview where he was like, oh, well, 135 is my perfect weight. I only want to venture to 140 for quote unquote big money fights. You guys recall that interview that I shared with you that I shared he um, had made those statements within some time ago? It's like, I don't know. One minute he's saying 135 is his perfect weight. The next minute he's calling out people at 140. What the fuck is going on here? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Like, if 140 is thick with competition, I'm definitely sure that he can make a lot of the quote unquote big money fights up there. Of course, right? People want to see him fight. People are interested in seeing him fight. Those types of names, especially somebody like Tio, who has the name up there. Um, Especially compared to 135. Right now, Tank Davis is really the name at 135 and the biggest fight to make at 135, even though seeing him fight Lomachenko would be good. And of course, everybody is still wondering if he'll ever fight Keyshawn Davis. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. He's refusing to fight Keyshawn. Tank Davis is doing everything in his power to evade him, right? He got this damn rematch on the horizon, allegedly. And Loma is damn near in retirement, according to him. For all we don't know if that man is coming back. You know what I'm saying? It's March and we still haven't heard a single shred of information concerning Lomachenko or what he will be doing with that IBF belt that he's holding captive. We haven't heard a word. So everything is vague and up in the air. 135 is a shit show, y'all, to put it goddamn nicely. What's going on? At least at 140, Shakur will be kept busy. He will be kept active, right? Frank Martin is up there at 140. Okay, you got George Kambosos, of course. You got Antoine Russell. You got Matthias. I mean, come on now. All of them are up there. All of them are at 140. Pitbull, Ryo, come on. All of the hitters have left 135 and moved on to 140. What's the problem? What's the problem? Go to 140 and call it a goddamn day. I shared with you guys the sentiments that he expressed about no longer being interested in Undisputed. Do you guys remember that? So it's like, if you're not interested in being Undisputed at 35, what the fuck is waiting at 135 for you, if that's the case? Why are you stalling at 135? You have no interest in becoming Undisputed. That means it would make no sense to unify, because if you unify one belt, it would make sense to get all the other belts. All the confusion really makes me exhausted, you guys, when I think about the waywardness of these kids' mentality. I don't know what the hell they're trying to do. What is he waiting for? Core is too wayward to me at times. He gets to be fickle and capricious. He comes off as capricious, even though I rocks with the young king. I think he has to make up his mind. 1 minute he's pushing in this direction, and the next minute he's backing out and going the other way. I think it's one of the biggest reasons why he hasn't yet established an identity in the sport. You know what I'm saying? There's no point of connection with Shakur Stevenson to a larger base who seems to be readily available and wanting to support him, but who are unsure of his motives, who can't really get a grip on the motives of Shakur Stevenson, right? Outside of the few tweets that he posts, outside of the proclamations of his greatness and things like that, people hear you, and a lot of people rock with you or want to rock with you, but are waiting for something concrete. He has to give that, and he needs to be at a point where he is able to give that. And obviously 135 is proving to be very stifling. I mean, for heaven's sake, the man fought George, whatever his name, Joe Cordina. Then he was in line to fight Schofield. That fell through. It's like, bro, the Tank Davis fight seems like an absolute impossibility at this point. Nobody knows if Lomachenko is going to come from under his bed. What the fuck? What is 135 holding for Shakur Stevenson at this point? Like, I think he should move where the wind takes him. You know what I'm saying? And if it's pulling him towards 140, well, the competition is, if you're saying that you want to fight the best and be among the best and really show who you are in front of the best, then, I don't see 140 as a far-fetched idea for him to venture into. before the year is out. I think that's I wouldn't be mad at that at all. It's actually time for us boxing fans to witness that greatness that he is, claiming he has and holds. We want to be a part of it. We want to invest in it. But he has to show a level of sturdiness. He has to show a level of solidity and unflinching desire to establish legacy. He cannot bypass the legacy talk. And I don't know how far he's going to get with saying things like that publicly. Oh, I'm not interested in a disputed. Oh, it's too much politics in boxing. I'm not interested in this. Like, what the fuck? If you're not attempting legacy, that means you're here for a bag. And I'm not trying to support no frivolous motives. I don't support the frivolous. You know what I'm saying? I like something with backbone, with heart to it. That's what I support. Legacy is heart. Claiming the belts is heart. It's a showing of heart. Championship. You can't be a champion without the claiming of belts, bruh. Like the emotional shit, I don't like that type of talk in boxing. It's way too much of it going on. Not only from core, but overall. People are trying to bypass legacy as if it's something, like it's a kite in the sky. It's not. And to have that disposition is to belittle all the greats and all the work that the greats before you put in. I don't play that. I don't play in the face of legacy. You're either on that ride or you're not. And that's the intention that I want to see set from Shakur Stevenson. He has not set his intentions, not to the public, possibly with himself. I have no doubt that he has set his intentions among his people, among his kin, among his friends, and his own personal base and within his own mind. But the public is absolutely out of the loop of that. People like me, at least. People who are not just accepting everything for face value, people who have questions like me. I'm wondering what else is there, because one minute you're claiming greatness, next minute you're telling me undisputed is not on your plans. I don't get that. I don't know. I seem to be a bit confused when it comes to that. So I would like him to make his intentions clear and known, because I definitely want to continue backing the young man's journey. I think he's a fantastic fighter, and I can't wait to see that on full display. And I think 140 is an avenue where he could absolutely showcase that without being held back. He seems to me to be held back at 135. Gervonta Davis does not want him to rise, possibly because he feels like Shakur is not something that he could overcome. Lomachenko is afraid to lose to another elite black male. He ducked Tank Davis. He knows what's going to happen in the face of somebody like Shakur Stevenson. And so he doesn't want to be dominated once again by an elite black male. That seems to be his fear. And so he went off running and hiding. And of course, there's the crazy disposition that is held between Shakur Stevenson and Keyshawn, where they're saying they don't want to fight each other at this time. I don't know what's going on. Go and venture into territory where you can be unbound. He needs to be in an area where he can be unbound. I don't like him. I don't like the timidity. I don't like the eggshells. I don't like all of these lines and parameters that he can't cross. I feel like there's a stifling of Shakur Stevenson at 135. And in order for him to bypass and really showcase that greatness that he says that he holds, he needs to be in an area where he can eat. He needs to eat. Clean your plate. No more motherfucking crumbs. No more motherfucking scraps. Get in there and make your kill. That's what I'm waiting for. So Shakur Stevenson, young king, set your intentions, king. Go run wild and go make your mark. That's what we're waiting for. Us real ones out here, we're waiting for you to do that. Not just talk about it. Go show and prove, because I'm ready to support you. Do the work to earn my support. That's where I'm at with it. Let me see what my people's saying. Salute to anybody I may have missed. Angel Diaz, I see you. Salute to you. Nice to see you. What are my people saying? Angel says, you're on point. It doesn't make sense. Thank you, King. I mean, you gotta call it for what it is. My Leo twin says, if Shakur is not gonna fight Keyshawn, then he might as well go up to 140 or down to 130. Yeah, facts. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't know what about 130. Yes, that's a possibility. Of course, I'd like to see him progress. I think 130 would be I can't say a regression, because there's still Oshaki. You know what I'm saying? There's people at 130, but of course the bigger names for Shakur Stevenson are at 140. But yeah, I agree with you on that, King. Rodney James says Shakur can fight Africa. Yes, he can. Yes, he can. All of these people over there at 140, King Rodney. You know what I'm saying? Go at 140. It's full of heat over there. All types of heater is at 140. But he's over here, tiptoeing around 135, I guess, waiting to see, if Red Light Special Davis will get a change of heart. Red Light Special Davis is not, he's not concerned at all with legacy. He's not concerned at all with making, the best fighting the best, or with living up to and satiating the minds and imaginations and hearts of the boxing public. He's not interested in doing that. He's interested in collecting a bag, you know what I'm saying? Staying around long enough for him to get his bag filled with some money before he, kicks the exit. Apparently, that's what his wishes are. So I don't know what's going on with that. It's very tiring to watch, though. Very tiring. 130 is up and smoking. Not the real smoke that I'm waiting for, but the smoke that you blow up somebody's damn ass. I'm tired of these people at 135. Shakur needs to get moving. The great Mike says, Keyshawn gets a belt and suddenly being undisputed isn't important to Shakur anymore. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that crazy? The King Steven says, yes, Devin looks like he's already on weight. He won't have to do a difficult weight cut. He'll look even better at 147, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to look fantastic. He's going to look fantastic in his fight. I can't wait to see it. Now, speaking of Tank Davis, you guys, let me sip my damn drink here, you guys, because, hold on. Now, since we last convened, there's been a lot of speculation about the rematch between Tank and Roach. It's been circulating that the fight is likely to take place sometime in June, right? That's what's being alleged across social media. I'm wondering about this fight, though, you guys. I'm wondering about this fight. The spectacle of this fight caused so much controversy, a wave of criticism, a hailstorm of questions, no doubt, right? Everything in the aftermath of that fight. Tank Davis has a lot to prove, you guys, coming off of that initial fight and going into this rematch. Tank Davis has a lot to prove. This rematch would essentially be a comeback fight for Tank Davis. Facts or no? I'm considering this a comeback fight because he has to come back from the performance that he put on. This is a comeback fight for Tank Davis. You know what I'm saying? The fight was left completely open-ended. Completely open-ended. It simply cannot remain that way. So that the importance of this fight is definitely set and without question. But I'm wondering about a sense of adamancy from Tank Davis to embark on this fight. That's where my questions lie. I definitely think that the sooner the fight commences, the better for Tank Davis at this point, because it'll finally answer the question. Okay, well, he just had to, overcome Lamont Roach. Okay, well, he proved it the second time. People are waiting for that question to be answered. You know what I'm saying? Or, of course, it stands to pose the question of can he overcome Lamont Roach? Is that something that he could do? Questions are on the table. So the June date is definitely ideal to get those questions answered as soon as possible. But I can't help in my mind's eye to see all types of queries that I can't escape. I have queries about if he'll try to bypass making this rematch. I'm not saying that he will. I'm not saying that, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I'm wondering if he's going to try to bypass the rematch. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. What I do know is that I don't like how quiet things have gone on Tank Davis's side. Has anybody noticed how quiet it's gotten out here in these streets? I know I'm not the only one who noticed how motherfucking quiet things have gotten on the part of Tank Davis. Why is this so quiet? Why is it so quiet out here? Since the decision was released that the New York State Athletic Commission ruled to uphold the referee's decision, right? With the counting and the knee and the goddamn hair grease and the Soul Glow, there has been no ammunition from Tank Davis around the rematch. No shots fired, no knocking on doors, nobody threw a shoe, a boot, nobody picked up a glass, ain't no razors being lifted under somebody's tongue. Where's the smoke? The fuck is going on here? Where did the smoke go, y'all? Why is it quiet? I don't like that. I don't like the quietness. And this is what's making me question, if he really wants to get that back. Do you really want to get this back? Do you want to set this draw straight and show people that you are miles and miles above the way that you claim that you are? The way that we expected you to show and prove that night? Where are you at? Why did he disappear into the fog? Huh? It doesn't make sense to be this quiet when you just came off of a fight that left you looking inept, that left you looking on equal par with a 130-pounder that nobody was even checking for a month ago, 3 months ago, 6 months ago. You should not be quiet at this particular point. How the hell are you going radio silent now after coming off of a performance like that, where somebody done proved that they could stand toe to toe with the king of 135? Nah, son, it's too quiet out here. It's way too quiet out here. You know what I'm saying? You can't go quiet amid much of the boxing world now questioning your hair grease folly, your taking of a knee, and just having overall questions about the performance that you put out. People got questions about why you were unable to conquer Lamont Roach. People got that question. Whether they rock with you or not, people got that question. Okay, well, that was a draw. Why was that a draw? People need to be set straight. And so that this rematch needs to hold a level of absolute prominence, in that you need to be showcasing on some level, some dialogue around this. Yes, this is when I intend to get it back. Oh, Lamont Roach, don't think shit is sweet. You know what I'm saying? We're going to run this back. Where are you at? I don't hear no talks. I don't hear no talking. He should be having nothing but smoke right now. I mean, the fight was goddamn only 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And it's already this goddamn quiet? You done faded into black? I don't like that, y'all. Okay? He needs to be letting his fans know that he's going to set things right. And he needs to be reminding folk that he is levels above and that he intends to show and prove it come that rematch, whenever that date is. Nobody has heard a word from, the coaches of Tank Davis. What's going on here, y'all? Where the fuck is GTD? GTD done gone missing. 3 weeks after a fight, he done gone missing. I don't get it, you guys. Wasn't Tank Davis just on every non-boxing platform that he could find, boasting to the world about how no active fighter living or walking or breathing today is on his level, skill for skill? Wasn't he just on, all these podcasts? Wasn't he just saying, I'm the best and who's worth fighting and who ain't worth fighting and who can't see me on a clear night or on a clear day? Wasn't he just out here doing all that? Where you at? Where you at? Somebody proved to be on equal footing with you, and you turned to Casper. Casper the motherfucking ghost. So, you know what I'm saying? The rematch is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to see you show and prove that you are miles ahead, but I have questions as to if you think that you are Mr. Red Light Special Davis. What's popping? Does he have questions? Does he have second thoughts? Does he have doubts? What's going on? The energy is way too tepid, way too timid. There is a reticence, and I don't know why Tank Davis is displaying a sense of reticence via his silence. It's not the time to be reticent coming off of a performance like that. You need to be reigniting the fire and saying that, listen, when this fight commences, I got to show this man, there's no equal par of nothing, no equality nowhere. Nothing is equal because I'm the king of 135. I'm looking for the smoke. What's popping? Why is it that I always feel like I have to drag smoke out of these motherfuckers of this era? You know what I'm saying? You're supposed to show up on deck. You're supposed to show up ready to go. I don't want to have to rile your goddamn spirit up. Where's the spirit? These people were cold, ice cold. They needed some heating up. They're scared to get in the kitchen. They don't like it hot, apparently. It's way too cool out here. A cool fucking breeze. Everything needs to be on fire. That's what I'm waiting for. I got the match. I'm like, what's popping, y'all? And everybody's going, I don't know, I'm going over here, y'all. The fuck? Like, come on, y'all. GTD get it together. Hopefully, maybe some, I could take an optimistic approach and say, okay, possibly, they are working in, under the avenue of business. Maybe they are making the arrangements. Maybe they are, working on contracts. I don't know. Apparently the rematch was already in place in their initial contract. So it's not like they have to, necessarily re-establish or reformulate an entirely new contract or anything like that. One is already in place. So it's like, well, what the fuck else is there to do except to, be training and to begin promoting the idea amongst the public that this is something that is going to happen. The rematch definitely stands to make way more money than it did the first one and to get way more engagement than the first one did. Because the first one, nobody was anticipating, nobody had asked for, but people are asking for, the outcome of the rematch because we were left in question upon getting the final result of that fight. So people are going to have an interest. Me, myself, I have an interest. You guys know I didn't give a flying fuck about this fight. Okay? I was very adamant about that, very forthright about my stance on that fight. But I find myself now taking interest in seeing the rematch because I want to see if their equality is real. Did the Montroach really just walk in the motherfucking building facing the king and showing that he is equal to him? How is that possible? You know what I'm saying? Was Tank's Dax grease a little bit too heavily applied to his hair? You know what I'm saying? Was the grease, did he choose the wrong amount of, type of grease in his hair that night? What's popping? There's a lot of questions to be answered in this rematch. You know what I'm saying? So that there needs to be a sense of heat so that they can ride the wave of the anticipation that people have in seeing this fight take place again the second time. I'm looking for the smoke. Things have gone way too quiet on Tank Davis's side. It makes me very skeptical. It makes me suspicious about the overall intention behind this fight, right? Because that is a big word of today, you guys, intention. I said intentions have to be set. What are Tank's intentions? That needs to be answered. And, I guess we'll see in the coming weeks what happens with that. But it's way too quiet on his side. I don't like it. Now, let's talk a little bit about something that commenced this week, or definitely since the last a few weeks since we spoke, and that is the Devin Haney and Bill Haney hate train being in full swing. right? What else is new, you guys? I mean, that's not news to the choir, right? We already know what time it is. It's something that has been in motion. It's something that we could, you know, pretty much anticipate at this point. Every couple of days, every other week or so, somebody with new jabs and new ways to censure the Haneys and the Haney name. It sure does seem like that, right, you guys? Definitely seems like that. Every other day, there is a spectacle created by people who want to clout chase the Haney name, right? We don't see it all at this point, it seems. Um, and even though we can sit back and laugh at it as we take a gander at all that goes on, like, oh my God, these people are clout chasing, or, this, that, or the third, it really is quite disturbing. Like when we really look at it honestly, and people's feathers are ruffled, possibly because they fear the return of Devin Haney to the ring. And I've been sitting back and thinking about this, very much. And I'm not sure if you guys saw the drop that I released. I believe that was day before yesterday, about everyone wishing on the downfall, right, of Devin Haney. I really do. I'm beginning to surmise that there is a fear of the return of Devin Haney to the ring. And not only his return to the ring, but the claiming of supremacy, the claiming of his supremacy in the ring. They fear the possibility of the reclamation of his spot in the boxing world. There's been an ongoing effort, you guys, as we know, my beautiful family, okay? Ongoing effort. Unlike any propaganda we've seen active in recent years, say the last 5 years, if you want to just keep it simple, right? The propaganda is unlike anything we've seen, okay? And it's a propaganda that is set in motion to thwart and sideline the public's acceptance of and progress of Devin and Bill Haney. They want to thwart that public acceptance and progress of Devin and Bill. Now, the onslaught is disproportionately set against them, you guys. It's ridiculous. Sitting back and coming across the things that we come across. I posit that there is a dreading of his return. I can't say that enough. They dread the return of Devin. Like I said in my recent video, I stressed that point in that recent video. They want the young man to fail. They want the young man to fall by the wayside. They want him to be disposed of. And this fight in May, I believe, poses a very real threat to those aims. Because should Devin Haney be successful in defeating Ramirez, what will the world say? What will the world say? All of the trumped up notions of, Devin Haney can't possibly be the same fighter after all. He got his ass beat. Oh, he couldn't get away from that left hook. Oh my goodness. Damn, did you see how he fell to the canvas? Ryan Garcia done beat him good, didn't he? Oh, he's weak. Oh, he got the pillow hands. Oh my God, Devin. Damn, his baby mama. Oh, Ramadan. Everything that you could think of that these people, use to cast stones at him. What are they going to say? Should Devin Haney actually go in there and do what I know he will do and can do to Ramirez on May 2nd? What is there going to be left to say, you guys? How are those old tropes going to stand? I'm beginning to believe that a lot of this ridiculous rhetoric that was put into motion to dissuade and disincline people from vying, for the rematch with Devin Haney is due to that fear. They wanted to disincline the public from, you know, siding with Devin, because that was a way to keep people from wanting to invest in the rematch, per se. So that there were talks about the rematch. Oh, Devin should get it back in blood. Y'all remember that? Devin should get it back in blood, y'all. Devin should do this. Devin should do that. But that was cap. I'm starting to believe that all that talk was cap. It was a cover-up. It was a front. Because they thought that that talk would keep Devin from wanting to show and prove. I don't know. It was a weird thing. Like Devin would be afraid to get it back in blood. Did they not know that Devin wanted it back in blood? Why do people get so forgetful? Devin didn't even get out of the ring before he said he wanted it back in blood. The fuck are these people talking about? That Devin has to prove such and such. He already told you what he was trying to do. He already told you the time that he was on. What are you talking about? Get it back. Ryan was the motherfucker trying to run and dodge that rematch. That's one of the reasons why Devin was suing. And say, oh, you ain't gonna fight me and you gonna cheat me? Oh, I'm taking you to fucking court. You know what I'm saying? And so many pussies out here crying about that lawsuit till this day. And it turns out that Devin had dropped the lawsuit. That was one of the things that was negotiated in order to get Ryan Garcia to, get in the ring with him in October, should they both be successful on the May 2nd card. He dropped the lawsuit. So why are people still complaining about this lawsuit? It's not even in motion anymore. It's not in effect anymore. They agreed upon it, so long as they get to fight each other in October. That was the final decision, right? Devin, if he would have had his way, he would have been fighting Ryan on May 2nd. But that didn't happen, and I wonder why. But nonetheless, they got their opponents on May 2nd, and then should they both come out victorious, they'll see each other this fall. But Devin been on that type of time. I really don't think that these people want the rematch with Devin and Ryan, because they know that the second time around, Devin will be even more stringent regarding the terms of testing. Okay? Ryan Garcia will have even more public scrutiny, aside from Devin Haney being on his shit and making sure that the parameters are set to ensure that things are clean and done right and correctly and professionally. He's going to have the public attention on him. Public scrutiny about the drug testing matters. People are going to inquire, okay, well, how often is he getting tested? People already know about the scandal that you are coming off of. So, of course, we're going to go into it thinking about the possibility of you popping dirty again. So that we are going to come in already scrutinizing Ryan Garcia, those of us who are cognizant about what is going on. People don't want that rematch. I'm very well convinced of that. People are scared of this rematch with Ryan and Devin because they are scared of it being on equal grounds, because when it is on equal grounds, these people know what will happen when Devin Haney is not made handicapped. That is what they fear. A healthy, viable Devin Haney who is full of vigor and passion and get back. What? You think those people want to see that Devin Haney in the ring come October? These people are shaking in their goddamn boots. And so all of the media backlash, all of the tirades that people go on, all of the censoring and castigation is a result of their fear of seeing that man on equal grounds and on equal footing and claiming his space against Ryan Garcia the right way. There's a strange obsession with the young king Devin Haney that these people have, you guys. There is a fear of his dominance in boxing. It's a very bizarre matter. Very bizarre matter. The boxing world has no fear, for example, let's say, of Tank Davis. Ain't nobody scared of Tank Davis. Even though he is the king, even though he, says I'm the best, everybody is with it. Ain't nobody got no problem with him. Why is nobody scared of Tank Davis? The man with the high knockout ratio. The man who can, demolish anything that enters into the ring. Why is there no fear of Tank Davis? In fact, he's been propelled into the foreground, Mr. Gervonta Tank Davis. He had the cosign of the great Mayweather. He's beloved and praised for his power, his knockout ability. He's touted as one of the highest selling fighters, etc., right? There is an overwhelming acceptance of Tank Davis. There is a cossetting of Tank Davis, an acquiescence of Tank Davis by the public and the media alike, right? The media tiptoe around Tank Davis, you guys. The fans are ensorcelled by Tank Davis. He can do no wrong. Oh my God, look at his braids. Oh my goodness, he straightened his hair. Oh, look at it flow. Yes, it's flipped. What kind of grease did he use? Oh my goodness, please dab his eye. The grease is too much. Oh my God, he can't see. He had to take a knee. You see how these people get down when it comes to Tank Davis? They are ensorcelled by Tank Davis, right? Ain't nobody scared of him. Meanwhile, Devin Haney, the most accomplished young fighter of his age today, is treated like a plague. A plague. And you know what's crazy? It's as if there is a need to ensure that only one standout black fighter can exist at a time in this new era. That seems to be the going motive, in my view. That they will do their best to ensure that only one black standout fighter at a time can exist. There is a need to suppress the rise of varying aspects and varying expressions of black elitism in the sport. They want to suppress it. Can't have too many at one time now, because then we'll go back into the golden era where the black man was, the almighty in boxing. And nobody can trump that. That's what it appears to be to me, you guys. When Bill Haney mentioned in his tweet the other day, and that I had posited in the video, and that, I divulged in the commentary that I did, when he stated that a Mexican fighter or a non-black fighter has only to show up and fight to receive praise and be deemed as warriors, whereas a black fighter has to do virtually the unthinkable in that ring. He has to walk on water. He has to turn water into wine in that ring just to be possibly considered maybe a fraction of a warrior, right? This is precisely the mindset that I'm speaking to. This is the mindset that seeks to limit the spread of acclaim of black fighters. There is no cap placed on how many great Mexican fighters can reign in any single division, right? Any non-black fighter, let's say if they were 10 of them, ain't nobody trying to put a cap on that, on their rise. But somehow it's problematic to assume that possibly 2 or 3 fully realized black elite fighters can all claim space at the same time. So that now we gotta castigate one in order to uphold them up over the other. We have to say that they aren't worthy. This person isn't worthy. No matter their level of championship and valor and warriorship, we have to put them down in order to hold this one up, because it's imperative that there is only one at a time, is what I am getting at, you guys. I hope you see the picture I'm painting. Why is there only one at a time allowed for an elite black fighter? What's going on? Any other group or crowd can have a handful of people that they call warriors and beyond. But black people got to take do and make do with a one face I don't like it. I don't like it. Back in the day, several kings reigned, and they all had to face each other and prove in front of each other in real time their skills and their valor and their heart. They had to do that. I don't like this era where there is a bypassing of that, what do you call it? Ritual. It's a ritual. There's a term for it. I can't get into, I'm seeing it in my head, but I can't get the words. Like where the young boys, they go through a type of, it's a ritual overall, but there's a term for it that I'm just not getting. But I can't remember the term. But yeah, it's a coming of age, type of passage, rite of passage. There we go. There's a rite of passage. People like to talk about the four kings and all this, that, and the third, in some type of mystical, fanciful type of way. But those men had to get it in the heat of battle. They could not sit on their separate thrones and paint their goddamn nails. They couldn't look in the mirror and worry about their straight permed hair. You know what I'm saying? They had to go to battle. They had to go eat. They had to go hunt in real time. They had to surpass the other. They had to stand in front of the other and show their level of valor and manhood. They had to prove that to each other. It wasn't just sitting, on some hill covered with fucking daffodils or something like that. That's what made them the four kings. They had to pass through the fire of each other. Why is that rite of passage not being allowed to take place among these fighters? I don't like it. Devin Haney earned his rite of passage. He became the youngest undisputed champion. He is moving on to bigger and better things. He is now attempting to capture the welterweight division. This is the force and the energy of intention. Nothing about Devin Haney and his moves are vague. Nothing is being mystified. He is telling you and showing you what he is on the path of doing. He is showing you that he is ready to face whatever challenges may befall him. He is ready to do it. He is ready to stand up to it. That is the seed that has to be planted. That's the force that I see that is missing among a lot of his contemporaries. And that's why a lot of them will fall short, unfortunately, behind him. People like Ryan Garcia have no valor. Testing positive for drugs and lying about it and making all types of excuses that, somebody was, playing in your asshole as a 6-year-old under the tree some goddamn where. All these excuses. You know what I'm saying? Oh, the aliens abducted me and they took me to Tupac's basement where we were smoking weed and playing video games. I was 6 years old and I woke up and I recalled that dream that I had. But it really wasn't a dream because Donald Trump is, a part of the Tea Party. All this bullshit that this nigga was making up that people just let slide. What type of valor is that? Is that a champion? Is that a champion, you guys? So that Devin is miles away. Miles and God, it's ridiculous. Miles away. Not even a discussion. Not even up for discussion. So that the targeted energy that is set out to censure and berate and castigate all types of level of disavoweling that is going on against Devin Haney is due to a fear of that supremacy, of that kingship, of that passing through the fire, of the rite of passage that deems one worthy because they have proved themselves. They don't want Devin Haney to continue proving himself. They don't want him to continue to do that. And so they pick one over the other. Hence your Tank Davis's or whatever have you in this particular instance. It could only be one at a time. Nobody is telling Mugia to sit down. There could only be one Canelo. Nobody is telling, Valdez, not to go out and achieve whatever he does or whatever other fighter that we could name non-black. They are encouraged to go forward. However many of them can attain championship or attain elite status, they are allowed the room to do that. Why is the pathway so narrow for black fighters? We got to change that. And I think that the intentions of black fighters have to be rearranged. I'd like to see more fortitude from these young black fighters. And to me, Devin Haney is the staple. But unfortunately, a lot of people, would rather jump on the bandwagon than look at the path that he set forth thus far. Even at such a young age, he's really setting a blueprint for a lot of his contemporaries, his peers, but of course the people behind him to follow. People fear his independence. People fear his business ownership. People fear that he is a business and a name all onto himself, that he is a motive force, an engine behind his own structure. There's a fear in that, so that he is coming with a lot of things that people would like to underdevelop or assume to be underdeveloped. It is not. It's in full motion, and he has a lot of power in his hands, he and Bill. And what they are doing is very important for any person who considers themselves a fan of boxing, but most certainly somebody who is aspiring to be an elite black fighter. And, the level of castigation that's been put out against him has been disheartening, to say the least. But, he's a young warrior. And, his train ain't stopping. Y'all saw him at the press conference. He was welcoming the boos. He was holding his little hand out like, oh, that's the best you got. You know what I'm saying? He was getting into his little, his little bag, taking on the energy. Like, yeah, I know y'all hating, but I'm still here. And what? So it's nice to see him growing, into a sense of maturity. It's nice to see that he isn't getting his own feathers ruffled despite the tirade and the onslaught that the media are out to perpetuate against him. It's nice to see that he is keeping his head on his shoulders. And real talk, I'm ecstatic for the fight in May. I think that he has everything that he needs and beyond to get the job done on May 2nd. Hopefully there is no foolery, no folly going on that card. With Ramirez's side. So far, Ramirez seems to be, calm, cool, and collected. He has a sense of professionalism. So I'm hoping that there is no popping dirty, that there is no scandalous, crazy activity, a part of this card. I'm looking forward to it. It's quite unfortunate, though, that this fight is private, though. I don't think that, fans can attend it. I guess we could, purchase it or whatever. Another thing that I don't like is that, I have to, if I want to see this fight, in real time, that I'd have to pay for it. And paying for it means that I'd have to then put money into the pocket of Ryan Garcia and Teofimo Lopez, which is something I absolutely do not want to do. I'm like, damn, Bill and Devin need to start a GoFundMe where I could just send them the money and support them directly, because I don't want a shred of my money going to that fuck boy, racist Riri, or the other pandering motherfucking idiot and imbecile you call Teofimo Lopez. But that is what that is. I still haven't made up my mind as to what I'm going to do as far as purchasing the fight. Of course, I want to support Devin. But we'll see. I'm still making my mind up about how I will go about showing my support for that. But either way, I'm anticipating the fight. And I'm anticipating what's in store for boxing, like I said. Start of the year kind of kicked off with some good energy. But we still have a lot of questions to be solved, a lot of questions to be answered in the coming months as we go deeper and deeper into spring and deeper into the year, right? So I can't wait to see what's going to unfold. I'm anxious to see what intentions are going to be made clear by these fighters, because we have to know. There is no more, lollygagging in the dark anymore and wondering, oh, what are you going to do? Are you going to fight this? I'm so sick of that, you guys. You guys already know what time I'm on. I'm tired of asking those questions. I'm tired of having that conversation. These fighters got to step up, get on Devin's level, get on Clarissa's level. You know what I'm saying? Get on Bud's level even. You know what I'm saying? I may not agree totally with the fight with Canelo Alvarez, but at least he made his intentions clear. For the past year, for the past 8 months or something like that, he was adamant about aligning with the Canelo fight. So at least in that moment, Bud made his intentions clear. I need more solidification so that we can know what we're doing, as these people's support system. You know what I'm saying? Let me check in with my people. Salute to anybody I may have missed. Salute, salute. The NBA D Nice is in the building. Salute to you, the King D Nice. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. My sister Cameron says, a no fighter left behind clause when it comes to Tinkerbell. You talk to him, sis. Facts. Absolute facts. Word. Craziness. Salute to the King Prolific. Salute to you, King. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming. Brandon Broussard. Nice to see you. Are you Haitian with that last name, Broussard? Salute to you, King. Nice to see you. He says, salute, Sugar Free. Thank you, King, for coming. I appreciate you. King Snoopy said he said somebody tickled him. Who are you talking about? Tickled who? Who said that? Oh, my God. That's crazy. Crazy as hell. Salute to the King. Slim in the building. Nice to see you, King. Leo Twin says, if Ramirez pops dirty, then it's an orchestrated. I mean, let's not. And you know what? I didn't even want to say that out loud, but we got to keep it real. These people are low down, and I have no doubt that they will do any and everything. You know what I'm saying? But I'm hoping that everything's on a straight and narrow. Like I said, Ramirez, poses to be a very, professional athlete, a serious athlete. You know what I'm saying? He's got credentials, and so I respect, his journey so far. I think he's a good fighter. I think he has a great resume. He showed improved, and so hopefully he won't, buy into the nonsense. Lord have mercy. Imagine that. Ooh, child, that would be crazy. That would be crazy. Let's hope that's not the case, though. Salute to the King, Todd Swindle. Salute to you. Nice to see. He says, salute, Queen. I didn't get a notification. You didn't? You didn't? Well, apparently YouTube be acting up sometimes, so who knows what that's about. But thank you for coming. I'm glad to see you, join us today, as always, King. Yeah, you guys, I think that's it for me. Nothing too crazy today. Let me know, any other points or thoughts that you may have. I think I pretty much covered all of mine. Let me go back here to see what else people have been talking about. Twin says, Gabe Rosado and Rampage needs clout. It's funny how they choose Devin's name for clout. Devin is the face of boxing. Absolutely. Absolutely. Devin and Bill represent Black excellence. They see that as a threat, and they love Black dysfunction. You better talk to him, Twin. Talk to him. Salute, Teach. Nice to see you in the building. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming, y'all. Yeah, so the King Rodney says, we have enough Black champions to make all the Black fighters rich. The King Daryl says, I think Ramirez is a solid person, though hopefully it won't happen. Yeah, no, he's definitely solid. He definitely seems solid. I think it should be a good fight. And I think this is a defining moment. That's why I put the word definition above Devin's picture, because this is going to define a lot of the boxing landscape, this fight with Ramirez, and as he enters into that fight with Ryan Garcia. This is going to define a lot of things for Devin Haney, and it's going to further set him apart from the rest. And that's precisely where the fear is coming from that I was speaking about earlier. I think people are afraid of that definition, the defining of himself, the claiming of that turf. A lot of people would rather see him on the sidelines, not believing in himself or what have you. And it's just not the case. That's just not the young King's spirit. You know what I'm saying? He's here for a reason. He's passionate about the sport. He loves the sport. He respects the sport. And, he's here to show and prove. And the definition is what's needed in all of boxing. I'm waiting for that. The definition is the intention. right? Because you're trying to define and set your terms. And I'm awaiting to see that element in, all of these up and coming fighters, solidified fighters, known fighters or whatever have you. I want to see that spirit. It's time to define the terms. It's time to draw the lines and set the intentions moving forward for the rest of the year. But yeah, y'all, I think that's it for me. Of course, a big shout out to all of you who came to join me today. I really do appreciate you guys spending your Sunday evening or afternoon with me, wherever you are in the world. I definitely appreciate you. It's always good to catch up with you. I will be in touch with you guys, of course, on the community page, as I like to do throughout the week. You may see a couple of things drop as far as content videos on the page, so definitely keep a lookout for that. Definitely want to send you guys infinite blessings, infinite love. All of my members, Cameron Fields, Daryl, my lovely twin, Prolific, the great Mike, all of my people who rock with me, all of my members who stand 10 toes with me. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to see you all very, very soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed yourselves. Oh, we got a super chat from the lovely King Daryl, my Leo twin. He says, just adding some color to the chat for another great live. Salute, Leo twin, sugar free. Thank you so much, lovely King Daryl. That's my twin, you guys. My twin is always, full of love, full of wonderful energy and support for the channel. He rocks 10 toes with your girl, Sugar Free. So I appreciate you, King, and everybody else who came to join me this evening. Salute to you, beautiful people. I hope you guys have a wonderful week ahead. Yes, indeed. And we will catch up soon. Have a beautiful evening, y'all. Peace.